How's it going, everybody? It's Pilot Family. We're back with another preseason FPL video, and today we're going to be looking at goalkeeper strategies and how you can maximize the most out of this position and how you can get insane value out of your goalkeepers for this FPL season. If you haven't done so already, make sure to subscribe to the channel if you are new and follow us on all of our social platforms, Twitter and Twitch as well. Pilot Flame 226 on those platforms. Links are in the description. We're going to be having a lot of content going up on those platforms so that you can be involved as well if you do follow us and subscribe on those, and make sure to do so because we're going to be wrapping up the content as we go into the FPL season. There's going to be a lot more series coming back going into the season and continuing from game week 2 onwards, like buy, hold, sell and pep roulette. So make sure to give us a follow and subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. So without further ado, let's get into the video. So the first strategy that we're going to look at is a long-standing one for the pricier goalkeepers called the set and forget strategy. So what do we mean by this? So this is going to be a goalkeeper that's a bit more on the expensive side, probably plays on a better team or a team that keeps a lot of clean sheets. So as an example, Nick Pope was very good at keeping clean sheets last season. His price has increased, so I would consider him a set and forget goalkeeper. Some other ones that come to mind would be David De Gea for Manchester United, Alisson for Liverpool, and so on and so forth. These kind of more expensive players that you know they're going to retain the ball a lot for their team. They're typically going to beat teams, and they may not necessarily make a lot of saves, but they will keep clean sheets. So Alisson as an example for Liverpool, in the season where they kept a crazy amount of clean sheets, I think it was 2018, 2019, and the last season I believe it was. He kept so many clean sheets, but didn't necessarily make that many saves, which is where the set and forget goalkeeper kind of differentiates from the other strategies. You're not necessarily looking for saves, you're just looking for consistency, and you're looking for clean sheets in that regard. So let's take a look at some of the priced goalkeepers. What we're going to do is we're going to sort it by team selected by as well. So a lot of people have picked Nick Pope right off the bat. Unfortunately, he has a blank in game week 1, so you won't get any points for him. He would have been a fantastic set and forget goalkeeper with these fixtures, only really having, you know, tough-ish fixtures versus Leicester, Spurs, and Chelsea in the opening 9. So you would think potentially 5, maybe 6 clean sheets in those first 9 games, which is quite a good return. Alisson, another example here, is at 6 million. He really only has a tough fixture. I would say Chelsea away, he could potentially concede to. Arsenal have been looking good. They just beat them in the Community Shield. And then Man City away. But in terms of just great fixtures all the way up until post-Christmas time, you can see here 2s and 3s across the entire board. Now, Liverpool have been looking a bit shakier defensively overall, so that would kind of make me kind of shy away from him. But somebody who I think could be great value in the set and forget role is Ramsdale at Sheffield United. They do have some sticky fixtures from game week 6 to game week 8, but then you'll be looking at some save points potentially for the keeper there. But overall, from, like I said, another really good patch all the way up until and including game week 19. With just some tougher fixtures from game week 4 to game week 8. So it's a potential that you may want to be looking, maybe you're wildcarding around that time. You could potentially just swap him out for the likes of maybe Nick Pope, who potentially has good fixtures. Let's check from game week 4 to game week 8. He does Newcastle away, West Brom away, Tottenham at home, Chelsea at home. You know, not as good, but on the FDR is considered a 3 rating. And then he has Brighton away and Crystal Palace at home. So that would definitely be something that you can potentially consider. Yes, goalkeeper transfers aren't worth it in that regard if you're going with the set and forget strategy. And you just kind of have to back the keeper in terms of how they're going to keep outputting points. Just slowly ticking over on sometimes getting 3 or more saves. Keeping the clean sheet every game, every other game, hopefully. And that's kind of what you need to look at in terms of set and forget goalkeepers. You're paying an extra bit of premium on top of them because you know they're going to get consistency of starts. You know their team is decent at keeping clean sheets, or they're like a team that's just going to batter teams game in, game out. Another example would be Ederson from Manchester City. They're not necessarily the best defensively, but City can demoralize teams by just beating them 5-0. And then Ederson gets a clean sheet, nice steady 6 points. You pay the premium to know that he's going to get probably at least a third of the games he's going to keep a clean sheet. And you can potentially look at him, you know, maybe in the start of the season as he has okay fixtures, has a bit of a rough patch defensively, potentially from 7 to 9. But again, set and forget doesn't necessarily get the most value out of your goalkeeper. However, there are some set and forget goalkeepers like Nick Pope, like Allison, like Ramsdale, even Patricio at Wolves, who's now hiked in price, who could potentially provide some value for extended periods of the season. Now, the next goalkeeper strategy is a rotational one. So this is where you get two much cheaper goalkeepers than the likes of Nick Pope or Allison, who are 5.5 or 6 million. You get two that are going to be around a similar price point to what you would pay for if you just got Nick Pope and a 4 million goalkeeper. You would get two 4.5. So we'll just kind of bring up a couple as an example. So Matt Ryan is a good 4.5 goalkeeper, plays for Brighton, starts game in, game out. And McCarthy is a good goalkeeper for Southampton. Now, what you can do is basically in this strategy is you can rotate and pick which fixtures are better for that goalkeeper. So as an example, let's look at the first couple of fixtures here. So Chelsea at home for Matt Ryan in game week 1, not necessarily good for clean sheets. And if we look at McCarthy, he has Crystal Palace away, a much more favorable fixture, also better on the FDR rating. So you'll probably start him over the likes of Matt Ryan in that game week for game week 1, and then in game week 2, McCarthy has Tottenham at home. Not necessarily good for clean sheets potentially. However, Matt Ryan, Newcastle away, who doesn't typically score many points, he's going to be good in that fixture. And then you can swap back to McCarthy when Matt Ryan goes to play Manchester United at home, and he's playing Burnley away, who again don't typically score very much and could potentially provide some save points there as well. Now, the risk with this strategy is the fact that there are some times where you think, oh yeah, game week 1, Crystal Palace away looks like a way better fixture for McCarthy than Ryan does at home to Chelsea. But this can lead to some problems where, let's say Ryan, has a very good day and he gets a lot of save points. Chelsea are just off it a bit. McCarthy maybe concedes a sloppy goal away to Crystal Palace. And then you're looking at a goalkeeper on your bench who has 7 to 8 points. And McCarthy's in your starting lineup and he's only got you 2 or 1 point maybe, which is kind of the disadvantage. And that's the risk that you play with swapping goalkeepers around. And I think that can punish you. However, if you go into it saying, I know this is the better fixture, this is the better play, and you just get a bit unlucky, that can happen. Maybe Ryan saves a penalty versus Chelsea. That could also be something that's a bit unfortunate there, as those don't typically happen very often, especially just kind of, the team getting a penalty and the goalkeeper, one of your goalkeepers being in that position to potentially make the save is unlikely in the first place, but saving it is just even more unlucky, especially if they're on your bench, or super lucky if you do decide to put them in your team. So that's another strategy that you could potentially go for. Not personally my favorite. I think you can get even better value out of your goalkeepers with the last strategy that we're going to mention here. And the last strategy that we have is pretty much like a set and forget, but a much cheaper version. There are some goalkeepers that are often providing good value for sometimes 1.5 or even 1 million less than their counterparts that you would set and forget. So this season, McCarthy is a very good example of that. He has fantastic fixtures to start the season, especially all the way up until game week 12, which is during the Christmas period. Then it kind of gets a bit ropey in that point, but maybe you can make one transfer to swap him out. It is a pretty free transfer. Maybe you have one spare. It isn't good to make goalkeeper transfers, but if you have nothing else better to do, then it could be good to swap him out when he goes to play like Arsenal away and City at home during the Christmas period, because he's going to play because he's a goalkeeper, and assuming he's not injured, he will definitely start. But Crystal Palace away can definitely get a clean sheet there. Spurs at home could potentially pick up some save points there. Burnley away, they don't typically score many goals, and he could potentially keep a clean sheet there. West Brom at home, a newly promoted team, and it's a home fixture, so quite good there. Even the Chelsea away fixture, yes, he might concede, but Southampton have been quite more, consistent in terms of their defensive prowess as well as their threat on the counter. And he is a very good shot stopper in himself, McCarthy, so he could be someone to potentially be quite good in that regard. And then Everton at home, Aston Villa away, Newcastle at home, Wolves away, all look to be decent fixtures to potentially keep clean sheets there. Man United at home, not great last time. They conceded 2 in a 2-2 draw the last time they played. Brighton away could be a very good fixture. Sheffield United home, again, they don't typically score many goals without potential help or signings. And I think that he could potentially provide a lot more value than the likes of Allison as an example, who have been looking quite, weak defensively in their back four, even with Virgil van Dijk in the team. And City, again, not great defensively. United, although they have been statistically good defensively, just not good value in terms of, De Gea or Henderson, who's going to potentially start there. Could be De Gea makes a mistake, and then you notice that you're without a goalkeeper for the next couple of weeks because he did make that mistake. So I think that the likes of Pope and Ryan and McCarthy could be quite good value picks here. Also, keep an eye out for the 4 million goalkeeper. So as an example, Nyland is touted to be the starting goalkeeper at the moment for Aston Villa. Even though they have a blank in game week 1, a 4 million starting goalkeeper could potentially be quite valuable, especially if a team picks up an injury. Yes, he's going to be replaced by Heaton in the game weeks to come when he comes back from injury, and we could see him back as early as like game week 3, game week 4, but most likely will be after the international break in game week 5. But I definitely think that Matt Ryan or McCarthy, just looking at Matt Ryan's fixtures, yes, his opening 3 aren't fantastic, but he can definitely keep a good amount of saves in the opening game weeks. And if we just look at the total points that they had last year in terms of just goalkeepers themselves, Matt Ryan was ahead of Ederson. He was ahead of Ramsdale, who was at Bournemouth at the time. He was ahead of Allison. He was ahead of Leno, who was injured. He was way ahead of McCarthy, and they all played the same amount of teams across the entire season. It's just a matter of who's going to get more save points and more value points. So either Ryan or McCarthy is probably better to pair up with a 4 million goalkeeper, and you're going to save yourself $500,000, 1 million, sometimes 1.5 million, depending on what set and forget goalkeeper you would otherwise be choosing with this strategy. And that's going to do it for this FPL video for Goalkeeper Strategies. If you enjoyed it, make sure to leave a like on the video. Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you are new. And make sure to turn those notification bells on so that you can get the content as soon as it is readily available. Also, make sure to give us a follow over on Twitter and Twitch. It's PilotFlame226 on those platforms. Links are in the description. We do have a mini league. It is over in my Twitter bio, so make sure to follow us over there and punch the league code in so that you can join us in our FPL adventures this season. And if you do win, you'll have your name in the description for all the FPL videos for the following season, and you'll definitely get a shout out by me at the end of the season, as well as the start of the season after that. Also, we do game week discussions over on Twitch. We're going to be doing one this week, Friday, at 7 p.m. EST, so make sure to give us a follow over there. Come in, have your questions, and ask away. We're going to be helping others out, as well as you'll be helping me out, getting some insight potentially on our teams for the start of the season. We have to make sure we get our lineups right. We have to make sure we're bringing in and having the best lineup for the start of the FPL 2020-2021 season, so I'm definitely looking forward to that. So that's going to do it for this video. Hope you all enjoyed, and until the next one, take care.